Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. This is going to be a little bit of a breaking news story. By the time you see it, it might be old news, but let's just call it a breaking news story. There has been a shakeup at Marvel. And what's interesting is that, we absolutely operate in a dynamic market in every sense of the word. I released a video a few days ago, and in one of the comments, there was someone that basically said that what is happening with Marvel and the Marvel movies is basically a great business case for failure. And I fundamentally disagree with that notion that there is a failure that is happening. And I think this person was basically saying it's a failure because Marvel has the studio, right? Marvel Studios has failed to basically pull into the comics elements from the movies. And I don't necessarily see that as a failure. I personally like the separation between what happens in the comic book universe from what happens in the movies. I personally like that. But it's amazing what can happen in a day, right? Today, it was basically announced, and I'm reading my iPad over here, that Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige adds Marvel Chief Creative Officer title to his list of titles. And so he is now overseeing all creative and storyline initiatives across the movies and also across the TV shows, which includes the streaming service. Now, what's interesting is that he now has reporting into him Marvel Entertainment, aka Marvel's comic book house. And so we don't know what impact this stuff is going to have on the comics just yet. But what is really cool is that it provides, I think, a clearer pathway for things to kind of move back and forth between the movies and the TV shows. And we actually heard some of that from like D2. There was a little bit of talk around D23, sorry, where they were talking about there could be some characters that will go from the streaming service to TV shows into the movies and vice versa. And now under his leadership, it becomes very clear how that could theoretically take place now. And I want to share with you guys an article that I've been reviewing for a lot of this information, and it actually comes from Deadline. And you can see the title here that I read a short while ago to you here. But the article kind of goes into some of the details here. And it says, already master of Marvel Cinematic Universe, Feige's oversight will extend to the overall creative direction of Marvel storytelling and content creation platforms. As part of this, Marvel TV animated generator Marvel Family Entertainment will move under Feige's Marvel Studios banner. So this dude is now in charge of everything. And then it goes on to talk about here some of the streaming services, TV shows, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Hawkeye, What If, WandaVision, all of these things are now going to be out there. And now, again, it provides a very clear pathway for how those characters may move back and forth between the streaming service / TV shows, right, into the actual movies for Marvel. So I personally think that this is actually a good move. I personally think that it is a good move that we now have one person that is essentially in charge of this stuff. And I think part of what makes me so excited about it, and I think also is part of why they decided to go in this direction, is that Kevin Feige has had a fantastic track record of creating successful movies that are intertwined with one another. And under his creative control, they have basically released a ton of movies over the course of 10 years that kind of all tie to one another. And that is not done by accident. That is done on purpose, and it is done by someone and people, a team of people that have a creative vision. And I think that that is fantastic. And that's why I'm excited. And I think that that is also why he has been put in control of just about everything, is because the man clearly has a vision and he can do these individual things and have all the dots connect in the end. And so what he is now being tasked with is to take, that track record of success and to continue it into the future on both the large and the small screen. And so I think that Kevin Feige is an incredibly talented individual that is also surrounded by a cast of very talented individuals, right? There are very few people in this world that can get things done solo, right? And in many cases, it takes someone with a vision, and they have to have doers, right, that can take that vision and bring that vision to life. And it is clear to me that Kevin Feige definitely has that. And so, kind of as I alluded to, the Marvel Entertainment Group, which is the publishing house, is also going to continue to report to the current person that's in charge of the publisher, but those people will now report up into Kevin Feige, which again I think is great, because what we may end up seeing at some point is some of the things that happen in the movies and the TV shows being pulled into the comics or vice versa, right? Because this thing can work any number of ways. And again, my personal preference is that there be the separation between the comic world and the movies and TV shows. I actually prefer that separation. But by having everything report up to Kevin Feige, I mean, you could have him influence some of the things that are done in the comics so as to properly create stories and content and source material that can ultimately be pulled into the movies and the TV shows. I think that stream in my mind works a lot better than having things go the other way, because a lot of times what we see in the movies and things like that are some depowered characters, and I don't necessarily enjoy that for a comic, right? But I think that some of the things, for example, that Jonathan Hickman is doing with House of X and Powers of 10, that type of content, if Feige had overseen that, is the exact type of content that I can see being pulled over into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and potentially having some legs in the TV show as well. So again, a little bit of some breaking news, at least as of like while I'm recording this right now. When you see it, it may not be such breaking news, but I think that this is really, really exciting stuff. That bodes well for the future of Marvel Studios, Marvel Comics, and also the Disney Plus streaming service. So that is the breaking news. I hope that you guys enjoyed this clip, and certainly if you did, I definitely want to encourage you guys to hit the thumbs up on this thing. Leave your comments behind. Let me know what you guys think about this. Are you on board with Kevin Feige's new role? Do you want to see some of what happens in the movies and TV shows to bleed off into the comics, or would you prefer to see what happens in the comics continue to kind of make its way into the movies and TV shows? I am really curious as to what you guys think. Does this move give you confidence on, in terms of the future of what is actually happening, or are your opinions unchanged? And I think that that's perfectly fine as well. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Certainly, if you want to chat with me, feel free to leave a comment behind in the comment section, because we can mix it up there. But you can also reach out to me at RegieCollects on Instagram. Take care.